Hello, everybody. Yes, another live stream, and I had no idea what to do today, but I thought, we were discussing last week while music creation, and of course, what we started a few weeks ago, and we had a subject last week a little bit. I'm working on it to create it a full song, but it's not had any progress. But I also mentioned, of course, waiting for Berlin, which was a few years ago. We did starting a live stream about electronic Berlin style of music, which means electronic synthesizer music, which has its origin in Berlin, in Germany, with Klaus Schulze and Tangent Dream. And we did start that, and suddenly, it became very nice. So in the end, of course, not during the live stream, I finished this as a complete song. And maybe I think it's a good thing that I show maybe today how it's built up finally, how it came to fruition or into a track. So I'm checking here so that I have everything visible for you guys. 1 second. So you see Punch is used for drums, but this is the whole track in Cubase. And I think I had started with a bass at that time. Looking at this one, Subboom Bass 2, okay, it's a small user interface. That's not very handy, Rob. Because today I had to do something, and then I used the smaller. But what was the trick with this one? So maybe I should play the full song. I can play the full song from Cubase or from the video clip. I think the video clip is also nice. So let me check if I can find that one pretty fast, because the video clip gives a nice feel to the whole song. So give me 1 second. I need to go to my right folder. The right one, that is this one. Need to go to the right destination. So give me 1 second, please. Most likely more seconds. Here we go. Berlin is waiting. And this is the video. So we talk about this song, which is on the album Waiting. And it all started with the live stream explaining about music creation with the focus on old style electronic synthesizer music. Of course, the rules which apply also to this kind of music also apply to any kind of music, maybe in terms of the workflow I do and the way I approach things. So let's first play the song with the video clip. That's always a good idea to have that one. Whoopsie, here it goes. Yes, everybody, welcome in the live stream. Greetings back to Vlissingen, very nice province, city in the Netherlands. So yeah, because I did not know what to do for today. There are so much things you can do with the synthesizer, but I thought, well, why not talk about creating music? And you hear some background noise, which are essentially noises from Berlin itself. So that's from the album Waiting. Okay, but let's go back. So it started with a live stream, and if I'm not wrong, we started with Subbum Bass 2, and it is a little bit small on this one. But if you have a preset and it fits almost, sometimes you need to tweak a little bit. And what I did with this one, I changed a little bit the feedback of the delay, which makes the sound. So let me see, bass Berlin is waiting. Let me see if I can make the big one. So let's make a bigger screen. 1 second. 150. Because of today, I had to. It's a bit more tricky with our plugins to Subbum Bass 2. And of course, if I added a preset in a song, I always save it on a different spot. So now it starts up 150%, and you see I created my own folder. If you go to the manager, Rob Bank here, and here it should have be Berlin is waiting bass. So now I reload it again, and it's this one. Okay, now I have my voice. So what I did, because essentially you hear it does a particular thing. So maybe most likely it started like this. But that was a little bit too much. So that is not the groove from. It's not the groove inside of the song. So I pulled back the feedback of the delay. I can click original, and then I have the right setting. And that's basically, because if I bypass now, it's a whole difference. So let me play it again. So this is without the delay, and now with delay. So it started with this Subbum Bass. So you see, some little changes like the feedback on the delay can make a huge impact. And essentially this groove made the basic of the song. So sometimes a song simply starts with one simple basic sound. Then I played, I think, something with it's doing the main melody, which was bit 2, I think. Here it is. Now it's a sequence, only I don't keep on playing it. I just keep it for 1 bar. So here it pops up. It's down here. Let's give it a color. You see, I don't work. So yellow, that's the main theme. So I had that sequence and I thought, hey, well, this is a nice melody. Why not use that one? So and that's a bit later on, so let's play it again. So this is the bit 2 melody which comes in. Now it comes here, this yellow one. You See, it's only playing a few notes. So it sounds as if I would play this melody, but essentially it's an arpeggiator which is not playing continuously, but only at a given time. And then I let go the note. You see, it's a very simple sound. Essentially, it's built up on a sinus waveform with a very long reverb and delay, which shapes the sound. Because if I shut down the reverb, you have this. Okay, let's go a little bit back. You hear the difference? So the reverb makes really the atmosphere in the music. What you have to keep in mind, if you have a sound in reverb which is so overwhelming and takes a lot of space, the other sounds you hear don't have reverb, which makes that you have this 3D idea. So you have sounds with delay and one sound that is very deep in the reverb. So it's like a contrast. So that was suddenly I had a kind of melody. So that was the second one. Then it needed also an additional sequence, because if you have only this one, okay. Okay, so if you only have this one, this bass sequence is pretty staccato, or how you say that? It's not very, it's really a bass but it misses a rhythm next to it, and that I created by using bit 2, again bit 2, because we talked about originally 70s music, and most of that was of course analog stuff, and bit 2 is a great virtual analog synth. It's no copy of any classic, but what I did, we pick all the best, so made a virtual analog synth which has the features you can add to it today. So not limited by this or that. Each oscillator has its own LFO envelope. So that's bit 2 is my answer as being a great virtual analog machine. The other ones are hybrid. Of course, the Predator 3 or a Blue 2 also can do a very well analog type of sounds, but this one has to really focus only on that one. So I added an extra sequence, which is this one. Here it starts. And you hear a little movement, and that's cool what you can do. So I use, for instance, very often the modulation wheel to change the sound, because then you have something underneath your finger instead of drawing it. So you really can add a feel to it. And what also happens, the sequence fades in, like having an old mixer where you fade in particular parts. So this is the second sequence, a bit 2. And that's also created from scratch, which is, why not? I think we created that one from scratch at that moment. And you see inside the filter, the modulation wheel is addressed to the filter. And we have a second filter, which is a high-pass filter to get the low end a bit away. So if I go to the left, you see that here, the modulation wheel, at a give extra track, I'm creating an extra track for doing the modulation wheel. So essentially you have the volume control here about this bit sound. Let's give it a color. So this would maybe this one, and then you have this one controls bit, so should have then the same color, which is then I think this one. So that's, and then you see in the music the filter opens and then it goes back again. So it adds a little dynamic changes to the sound so that the people who are listening to the sound hear, hey, something is changing. So here it comes in, it fades in, the sequence, but then the filter opens. And that's this part here. But it also goes down again. Here comes the melody. And after the melody is played, you see the sequencer again gets the filter open by using the modulation wheel. So that's the second sequence. So essentially what you hear now is two sequences, the bass and the stop sequence. And there's no drum yet because, yeah, let the music build up. So why add right away drums? So that's what I did. Because while in the process here you see the drums, it of course was originally from the beginning. But once you say, okay, let's finish the music, then you mute stuff to make it build up. And that's also something which I explained last week, is that keep in mind you listen trillion times to your own song, so you are easily tend to overdo things, to put things inside of it and forgetting that, for instance, if somebody listens to your music for the first time, and first needs to adapt the sound, and you cannot overload them. It should be a kind of balance in terms of what is inside the music. When we played in, and of course I also had to learn this, when we played together with Peru, I often was the guy who said, oh, well, I like to try this now in the track. And we had then 24 tracks or 8 tracks even in the earlier days. And then Ruth, my musician colleague, said, okay, Rob, give it a try. But then at a given moment he said, well, it doesn't add anything. It's nice, but it doesn't add anything to the track. So that you always need to keep in mind. If you create your music by your own, you don't have a producer next to you who keeps a kind of overview, who keeps always in mind that, yeah, at the other end is not you, but the listener. So... yeah, then this piece needed a extra melody, and what I do is improvise and play over it, do some, and suddenly sometimes or most of the time a melody pops up, and that one I will use then, which is then down here it's bit 2 again, and that's the melody which pops up, this brassy type of sound. Let's give it a different color. So here comes bit 2 for the brassy sound. I can play it solo. So this is the lead sound. It only has delay. So I did not put any reverb on it to give it also again this interaction with the other sound, which is very deep in the reverb, to have this contrast. I do this mostly subconscious, but of course it's a kind of subconscious thing, like thinking in contrast. So it plays twice, but in between then you have the melody. So that's then of course also the idea. So you have the brass lead sound. Oops. So now it plays it. Now comes again the spacey sounds. And we hear the choir pop up. So, you see here, first time this the choir pop in a bit later on, and these are from Vecto. Essentially, it's one preset, but I switched down. It's the CS80 and choir. So if I... But I did shut down one oscillator to have only the choir. And that's also something you can do. Sometimes you hear a sound which is almost good, but if you shut down one of the oscillators, suddenly it fits, which is in this case. And that one pops up. So it does only a few little things. It's, you see here, so talking about less is more, it's only 2 notes. You see, I played also manually, no quantize, to give it the feel. That's also one of the things which is one of the things which is a kind of trap, is that we can see what we played. And here you would see, okay, this note is not really on the bar. And then there's a given moment, which I also had, that you think, oh, I should adopt this, and suddenly the feel is away. So for drums and particular sequencer sounds, quantizing is good, but for playing solos, so for instance, this solo is also, you see here the timing is then front, back, that makes the music musical or human. So if I would quantize this, it would not sound that good anymore. So that's the choir sound that pops up in between. So you see the song builds up very easy. Now the little hi-hats come in from Punch. That's this one here. And there are Gerd Brown's his favorite noise hits, which are in this case, because we were talking about creating a Berlin style of synthesizer music. Of course, I think it's a bit maybe too melodic for Berlin style of electronic music, but yeah, I created from scratch and here the delay is very long. You hear that? At least, I mean, the feedback. So this adds a nice, synthesizer music vibe to it. So it starts here in bar 37. Here it starts. These what are black now. Main melody. So yellow is the main melody with the spatial sound, and then it moves over to something else. And you see that, for instance, the noise, this black one, at that given moment, it's gone. that's also something which you can try in your song. If something else pops up to remove something, and that's nice with all the music programs, that's pretty easy to mute it. Now you see I did delete it, but most likely the noise in the original version was until the end, but then I start, so if I would do it now, so you would have then here inside all the noise hits again. But then I try to mute stuff, and if it does that given moment, a lot of other things are happening. This noise hits are maybe a bit too much, and you give the music more air because the noise hits are gone. Because here the drums kicks in with a lead sound. So the noise will be gone the moment the lead solo comes in. So you see the noise, they are gone here, and you don't miss them. Of course, if you know the original track, but that's also what you can do in your music. If something else pops in, like now the drums and this guitar synth lead sound, then you can also mute stuff. Sometimes you do mute things which don't need to be muted, and then you unmute it again. So, for instance, there's a solo playing, which is the Predator 3, the fuzzy lead sound. And that's, by the way, cool from this. This is Feedback Me. This is a preset in the Synth 03 bank, 003 Synth 01 bank. The XY is used to use the you see the oscillator morph 1. It morphs from a square waveform to sinus waveform. You see it? It's like a feedback on a guitar. So, and it does this with a timing of 2 bars. So if you play then a solo, so that's the solo inside the this piece of music. Here it is, this one. I can give it a color green. So here it plays. And you see there are a lot of things going on. So here you also see the timing. Here it is a bit too early, there a bit too late if you go to the grid. But yeah, that's so don't quantize. If it sounds good, don't quantize, because that gives the musical factor to it. Yeah, you don't see here the pitch banding. I always use pitch band a lot. So you see it modulates. It goes from one chord to another one. That makes this jump in this song. So that depends. Yeah, and what I do at the end, I make play this one also on top of the melody to give the whole song a very end climax, as they maybe call it. So that's basically how the song builds up. And there's one sequence which I called in the chat room a little bit like a mouth harp, which is very minimal in the background, but that's this one. But it has its own spot. So let me play it solo. You see, it really is like it goes a left, right. It combines very nice with the bass. And the other sequencer. So yeah, so there are essentially, I think, three sequences inside of it. Okay, yes, so that's the story a little bit of today, because last week we discussed about music creation. I had again, while playing some Predator 3 presets, it started to sound nice. And then suddenly I had an idea for a song, which I need to expand. And of course you will hear it once it is ready. And that's, of course, how song creation starts. You simply start with a sound which has a nice inspiration, and then you move on. It's so what is more in this piece of music? Let me see. I put my voice on voiceover. Then, of course, we had the drums, and the drums are, of course, punch, but it's pretty straightforward. So let me see if I can. It's a little bit of tambourine. You hear that? Very soft. And if I'm not wrong, that one I did not quantize. Or did I? I'm not sure. Let me see. Oops. I need to go over the part to see it, of course. Yeah, it's hard to see if I not all. Yeah, it looks quantized. Yeah. Hi-hats. I don't use external here because, yeah, Punch 2 has a very high quality reverb, so why should I do all bordering and put in something on the FX end? I'm too lazy for that, because the sound of Punch 2 and its effect are top-notch. No need to have a very expensive. Yeah, then you get the end of the song, and then you see, you see here at the end some changes. The sequencer goes open. Another solo. Predator solo. And here the choir comes open. And then I do something here with sub bass, I think. Yeah, with some boom bass, I'm not sure if you can see it. I think I used the modulation wheel to open the delay. So because you can hear, oh, it's not in this patch. Modulation wheel. Modulation wheel. FX1 mix, modulation wheel. I think that one, so I lost that now while reloading. But what happened is that the modulation wheel changes the, so it should be something like this. Let me see if I can reproduce it without loading the song. Haha, yeah. Almost good. So I need to reload the song and save the preset again, because what happened is that while doing in the process, finishing the song, I forgot to save again the preset. Of course, in the song, it's correctly saved, but as a single preset, it misses this last thing, which is in the track that the last note of the sub-boom bass gets suddenly a lot of feedback on the delay and far deeper delay. Now it should work. You see here, it's now not that, it's not as in the final mix. It's even too much. So I need to go a little bit like this. But of course, yeah, I need to reload the song and save again. So that's the sub-boom bass opening the modulation wheel for adding the delay. So it was something like this. And that's cool about our software synthesizers, is that the FX can be controlled. And this is, to my impression, a little bit faster than doing this by an insert and controlling the insert, feedback and mix. So now I use the modulation wheel to increase the mix from the stereo delay, so more delay sound, and increase the feedback. And here at the end, it goes back again. Yeah, then it goes back to 0 again. So you see, this song, it doesn't have that many tracks. Essentially, the top ones, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I can give them a color, are the drums. Then we got the bass, which is this one. Then we got sequencer, lead, another sequencer. So drums, you could say, is maybe one track. So, but essentially 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, which is a controller track, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15, 17, 18, 19 tracks, essentially. I think it's and if you count the instruments, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 instruments. What I did not show you was the FX sound from Predator 3. Of course, we have synth FX now, but this was the MS-20 Spy 4, which is really what I call an MS-20 sound effect. So let's play it. It only appears sometimes. Here it comes. So it's only in the background. Very long delay. Of course, I could use synth effects for that one as well. Yeah, another thing what I did, so that's one of the, I think I had all the instruments. I can see also blue here, but this one is not used. So it's a track not used, left over. So, and the other thing which I did also is the environment. So if you are having a headphone, if you're listening to a headphone, if I mute this now, you will notice that the sound is so pure that it is almost too pure. So if this is the start. Normally, if it would be a recording from the 70s or the 80s, you would hear noise from the mixer or noise from the tape. Or if it would be a album, record, vinyl, you would hear. So it's even too clean in terms of background noise, and that can be eerie. So that one I thought, because it's talking about Berlin, I thought, yeah, why not give this a bit more magic? I simply took the from a random. I think it was a walk around in Berlin by a person. I took a little snap of it and used it as a background. So down here you can see this one. That is the background, the environment, which you can hear at the start. Gives it right away a particular vibe. It's one kid running. Here's some people talking. But it adds atmosphere to the sound. It's just one little thing which changes the whole thing. Okay, another thing, because you mentioned what I like to use is on the mixer, the FX, because of the control. Sure, keep in mind I'm lazy, but there's another thing about it is that very often the sound in the synth, the delay or reverb, makes the sound. So if it's good, use it. I mean, not only with our plugins, but if the sound is good, keep it. Don't worry about it. So the only thing I do then, for instance, with the sequencer sound, is cut away a little bit of the low end. For instance, in this sequence, I use the high pass filter. I could do this also on the mixer, of course. So now this sequencer, this is the bass, and what I did is the low cut on this one, because if I don't get the low away, it starts, even if the sequencer sounds pretty high, it still has low end which would rumble. So if I close it, you hear now that the bass and the sequencer in the low end, they start to mingle. And if I use a little bit of high pass filter on the sequence sound, which is not doing the bass job, everything gets open. And then everybody thinks, oh, Rob, what are you using then on the main channel? Yeah, keep in mind, this is not dance music. This music may have dynamic changes. I don't like music which is totally flat processed. I can hear it if it's totally flat processed, and it's very tiring on my ears. But that's my personal taste. So what I use is the glue, which is basic compression. It's a like a channel compression on your big mixer. Ratio 2, it's very minimal. Then I use RPEQ because, yeah, we have a lot of low end in our electronic music. So I cut away a little bit of the very low end you don't hear. So, and then add also a little bit of air. And air really opens the whole mix. That's what I do. So, and you see, we are using my own RPEQ software. So, very minimal. Only the very low end, I'm putting air to it. And the mono stereo, which is great to make even the low end perfectly nice and clean. So it's not much what I'm using. And the last thing what I do is Elephant, which is a not a thing which looks fantastic. And I use little ultra smooth +3 maximizing. So you don't hear it. It only makes the total volume climb up a little bit. But don't take my advice on this because my music is a lot of breathing, so it's not running for the loudness war. So that's what I do. For this type of music, it fits nicely. Most likely, maybe somebody could mix it even better, but that's the way I do it. Good. No, I don't use sound chainings. You see, this is very basic. It's electronic music. What I do in terms of how it's built up, it's not different than we did in the past. We had 24 tracks. We had a mixer, and then we had a tape recorder, a compressor on the mix, and that's it. So it's of course totally different if you work with vocals, real instruments. Then you need tons of compressors and all kind of gear. But this is pretty simple in terms of mixing. Okay, yeah, well, Texonic Audio, you always can watch it back. Go to the start of the video and you can watch it back. And then I start playing this song. And now you can see it here, how it did develop in Cubase. As mentioned, just take everything with a grain of salt because it's my workflow. But some tips like muting stuff in building up the song, and that you have to keep in mind that the guy who is listening to the music doesn't care how you made it. He listens to music. Give him time to adapt the song, the sound, so don't overkill it. That's my advice. Guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Give it a thumbs up if you like it. And we catch up not next time. So the next 2 weeks, I'm not in the studio. So we catch up that would be 14, 15, 16, Thursday, the 17th of September. So next, I'll write it down, next to Thursday, no live stream, but we will have quad 2 at the end of September, early October. And Quad 2 is a very cool synthesizer update. Quad originally for the rack extension created, but we also made it VST, audio unit, and AAX, and now we expanded it with very cool features. So anyhow, guys, as mentioned, give it a thumbs up, put in a comment. That's always good so that our people discover the sounds of the Rob Papen plugins, which we, of course, create together with John Iris and Sajek. And, of course, we have some great help by Gerald Arendt and the beta testers, Mark, Satchel. So we have a very cool team. And, of course, Hans van Even, who creates the most of the user interfaces. Anyhow, Bye-bye. Keep well. Enjoy creating music. Bye-bye.